Welcome to Building Fortunes Radio. Make sure you check us out at buildingfortunesradio.com. Along with our marketing partners, we're here to help our PM Marketing Network Lead customers build their businesses and make the world a better place. At Building Fortunes, we know how much your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingils.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingils here. You are listening to Building Fortunes Radio in our very special segment with a great friend of ours. His name is George Vincent. George is someone who is working with us over at Building Fortunes Radio like crazy. He's a good guy. He's a hard-working person. He's in the transition of his life where he went from being a software developer, which he can still do, over to being that entrepreneur, and we love having him as part of our Building Fortunes team, both on Building Fortunes as an affiliate and both on Building Fortunes Radio. So if you're looking for someone that you could work with that you know is going to be around working just right with you, then you want to work with George Vincent. The cool thing about George is we're showing him how to use the Building Fortunes Radio platform to expand his brand and help the people that are important to him. So he's doing so with people that he's working with on a regular basis as well. So for those people who are unfamiliar with George Vincent, you definitely want to go check out buildingfortunesradio.com, look up the George Vincent Radio Show, and be able to hear some really great information that you'll be able to apply towards whatever you're working on to be able to effectively build your home-based business. Because as we explore in this radio show segment, we're going to be talking about the inevitable and fast-changing changes that are happening to the economy, which underlines the idea that I, like probably bazillions of other people, were visionaries to say that, you know what, you better have your own gig, you better have your own economy. So I can't believe that back, I think it was 2005 when we started doing Phase 2 websites, that I said, I think I'm going to go get a domain name called Your Own Economy. That can't be taken.com, right? There's no way. And it wasn't taken. Your Own Economy. How could that not be taken? Then I said, well, I wonder if there's one called Make Your Own Economy. And that one wasn't taken either. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Don't you realize that you better make your own economy? What's wrong with you? So anyway, so playfully saying, we've been the visionaries in 2005 when I registered the domain names, but the reality is that there's lots of other people that are doing exactly what we're talking about. They're making their own economy because you can't really count on somebody else anymore relative to employment, especially with the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So, George Vincent, thanks for being here on the radio show.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It's extremely, it always has been important that you have your own gig, your own, economy, build your own economy. But nowadays it's critically important, and I think that people may not really understand with all of these changes with automation and specifically AI, artificial intelligence. I don't think people really understand what that's going to mean for their own personal economy. So that's why we're doing this little segment or series. This is part 2 in the series. And, don't want to scare people, but we want people to kind of, hey, you need to start paying attention to this because this isn't way off in the distant future. There's a lot of things that are happening right now.
That's true. So you wanted to bring up some topics relative to this. And by the way, we started this sequence last week. So for those people that want to hear about this artificial intelligence stuff, say, what is this? Is this like a sci-fi movie? The answer is no, it's not. It's happening right now. And if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to be gobbled up. So, Vince, for those people that may never have heard of artificial intelligence, these computers, they're pretty quick. You're a programmer, so you know what you can program. And if you've ever played tic-tac-toe with someone, like my granddaughter, I've learned that, when you're playing tic-tac-toe, if someone goes in one place and then someone goes in another place, it might actually determine the end of the game, if you know what I mean. It's like stalemate, or somebody's going to win or whatever. It's going to block you. And there's only like 9 squares, I suppose, that somebody might be able, or 9 fields that somebody might be able to put something in there. And I'm sure there's probably a computer program that could be written that would say, if someone starts here and then someone goes here, what are the possibilities? And that computer can actually just crunch and crunch and crunch and crunch and crunch all the situations and have all that done, where literally the computer can learn how to beat you like almost every time. So that's what I mean by artificial intelligence, computer learning. You know, some people call it machine learning. Is there's ways for guys that are smart like you that do computer programming to kind of figure that stuff out. And if you just take that as an example in your life, like, wait a minute, if they can do tic-tac-toe, can they do whatever they imagine I'm going to buy next, or whatever imagine people like me are going to listen to next, or whatever imagine whatever I'm going to see next or be able to do next? Are they going to be able to kind of computer learn, machine programming, artificial intelligence kind of stuff, almost everything that we do in every aspect of our lives? And the answer to that question would be, go ahead, I'll let you answer it.
Okay, actually, I'm glad that you asked that question. So now let me set your hair on fire. They have gone so far beyond that with this artificial intelligence. Let me give you, I was reading some articles and watching some videos, and let me just give you a really quick list. Back in 1997, IBM developed a program, artificial intelligence program called Deep Blue, and its only purpose was to play chess. And so in 1997, Deep Blue beat the reigning chess master in the world. And everybody thought that was like really amazing, but it was so futuristic that people didn't really think about it. Well, let's see, the next thing that IBM did was to invent Watson, and that was in 2011. I'm going to jump back and forth chronologically, but Watson was developed to play the game Jeopardy. Now, if you think about Jeopardy, how in the world can a computer play it? Because you have slang, you've got, references, you've got humor, and then this whole strategy of the game is so, there's really not a A to B to C kind of progression through the game. And so in 2011, Watson destroyed the 2 reigning human champions of Jeopardy. Now we have Google's got DeepMind, which is a self-learning AI, and the list goes on and on and on. One other thing that was pretty interesting was I think it's Google's DeepMind, I believe 2016, or I might have my dates mixed up, but there's an ancient Chinese game called Go. And Go has as many more moves than chess as there are atoms in the entire universe. So you can't just say, here's all the moves. There's no such thing as all the moves with this game. And Google's DeepMind beat the reigning Go champion. So this is, AI has just, we thought all of this stuff was way, way, way far in the future, but it's right here, right now. And just this morning I was reading an article where Apple announced that they're developing driverless cars. You've got everybody on that bandwagon, Apple, Uber, all the major car dealers, everybody's on that bandwagon, and there's going to be repercussions from this whole AI thing, especially now they have AI that can not only program itself, but it can create other AI. So, this is there's some stuff really going on here, Peter.
When you talk about, let's talk about make your own economy for a second, and for the people that are listening in, just kind of bear with me with this little theme. Steve Jobs is pretty well known for, I forgot to shut all my phones off, so hold on one second. Steve Jobs is pretty well known for at least getting credit for designing that little thing called the computer, the Apple computer. And he came out, there was other computers out there for sure. But then when he needed to expand his business, he came up with this thing called an iPod, if you remember. And that was kind of like the next product, besides the laptops and the desktops. The iPod really started to revolutionize music because now you could carry it around. So that was really cool. Before you had to listen to it on the radio and you could really never pick anything, but now you can kind of carry it around. And through that, of course, there was a lot of technology and all this sort of stuff, make these things smaller and smaller and lighter and lighter and lighter. So you could easily drop it in the toilet because it's harder to drop. It's harder to drop a Macintosh in a computer. But anyway, so you know, we could do everything, but we still can't make them waterproof, if you know what I mean. Like, what the? And that, then I digress. But the reality is that he started with that, and then he actually says, you know what, I think I'm going to make this thing called a smartphone, which we all recognize was the iPhone. And in that iPhone, he developed his own economy. So I have to explain. Unlike Microsoft, which usually develops products for Microsoft that they wind up licensing and selling, Steve Jobs and the people at Apple decided that we're going to have a platform where developers will be able to program in their own applications, they started to call them, like programs or apps. They'll be able to develop their own apps, and by developing their own apps, we'll give them a platform that will work on our operating system. People will be able to do it on this phone, and we'll use the collective intelligence of the world to be able to make our product better. And Apple went from a rival to Microsoft to being like one of the biggest companies on the planet. And as a result of that, they made their own economy. Apple makes a lot of money selling smartphones and taking a piece of the action of a lot of the stuff that's sold through the Apple Store. So they made their own economy. It didn't exist. Steve Jobs and the people with Apple made an iPhone. And although my example isn't technically 100% correct, it's functionally okay for the concept of making your own economy. So then other things have happened as far as their own economy. Somebody turned Google into a monster that now does whatever it does and changed their name to Alphabet. But they made their own economy. And Facebook made their own economy. And Snapchat and Twitter and a few of the other things, they made their own economy. Who would have ever thought that outside companies would ever be saying, check out my site on Facebook or subscribe to my Twitter feed? Like, other companies are using other companies. Somebody created their own economy. Well, what we are witnessing right now is somebody said, well, that whole carbon tax thing isn't going to go over very well, you know, like charging people for breathing, you know, so that whole Kyoto principle, that didn't fly. Like, they couldn't pull that one over, you know, or they're still not done yet, but they couldn't get the masses to do that because the masses aren't smart enough to be able to figure out, like, carbon taxes and footprints, but they'll just kind of rally around it. Sorry for all those people out there that believe that, you know, climate change and warming the environment and all this other stuff, that their little ego is going to be able to change anything. But having totally alienated half of the audience by me, what I just said, for the example purposes, somebody came up with this concept of let's make a car drive by itself. And from that, driverless cars, we are seeing a huge change in a new economy. Car manufacturers are saying, there's our new China. Like, for all those people in the United States, like everybody thought, like, China, expanding markets, everybody's going to get rich, just go into China. So what's happened with the self-driving things is all the car manufacturers saying, we better be there because we don't want to be the next Microsoft. Like, Microsoft lost on the search engine thing to Google because they were sleeping. Microsoft lost on the phone thing because they were sleeping. They were too busy worried about whatever Microsoft was doing, and they kind of lost, right? So same thing with Facebook. They could have done a social networking thing, and they lost, and Zuckerberg took his chance. No one is planning on losing this next new economy of driverless cars. So there is so much pressure on driverless cars that it is forcing the technology that is now overflowing to everything else, because you need machine learning, you need artificial intelligence if you're going to have some multi-ton device or vehicle driving down a highway with an infinite number of possibilities safely. So there is a huge amount in a surveillance state, a huge amount of pressure, this overflow of technology driven by driverless cars is going to dominate your life whether you realize it or not. You are either awake or asleep, and most people have no clue. And I'm not that visionary who's actually predicting something that might happen that comes out of left field. This is happening right under your and my nose. So, Vince, I'm going to let you think about whatever you want to do as far as commenting on that. I should probably actually look good. Or should we do our commercial break? We should probably do our commercial break.
Yeah, let's go to break.
So let me cue up our verbal commercial break over here. You're listening to Peter Mingils, and we have George Vincent on the Building Fortunes radio show. And there's a new segment. If you go to buildingfortunesradio.com and then check for George Vincent, you're going to be able to hear that right there. And we're going to play our little commercial. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to Building Fortunes Radio. If you sell a product or service, then you should check out PM Marketing's NetworkLeads.com. Just visit www.networkleads.com. For over 18 years, PM Marketing has helped distributors build their home-based businesses through lead generation, website development, automated email delivery systems, and sales training. If you're looking for a way to increase your skills and increase the number of people that see your product or opportunity, NetworkLeads.com can help. To learn more, visit www.networkleads.com. Ask about their lead management system, capture pages, personalized websites, MLM training, humongous blogs, the humongous classified ad network, Building Fortunes Radio, or their webinar schedule. NetworkLeads.com can be your one-stop shop for everything you need. And now, back to our show.
And we are back. Peter Mingils here with George Vincent on the George Vincent Radio Show. Make sure you check it out. Go to buildingfortunesradio.com / and you can find the George Vincent thing in there. If you go to show by name, that's actually the easiest way to do it. And then also make sure you subscribe to everything that he does. George Vincent is going to be helping us with our Building Fortunes Radio Facebook group page or whatever that is. I'm not really into the social media stuff as much, so George is taking over with that. For me, social media is wonderful, but it could be largely a waste of my time, only because I get sucked into everything. So I could easily start looking at some cool things. So I have to do it when I'm ready for it, which is usually not very often because I have very little free time. And quite honestly, I don't really want to see what all my kids are doing. It's a little bit disconcerting. So anyway, I'll go asleep on what my kids are doing, but I'm waking up when it comes to what's happening with artificial intelligence and driverless cars. So over to you.
All right. Well, I was one that used to believe that all of the, AI stuff and all that was way in the future. But actually, it's already here. So if you think that you had time to wait, well, it's already too late. So you've got to build your own economy right now. Now, here's a little quick story. My initial introduction into AI was a game called Civilization. It was a computer game. And, yes, I am a geek. I'm a programmer. And not to say that all programmers are geeks, only the best programmers are geeks. So, but this game introduced me to AI, and I was playing the game, and you really can't tell the difference between a human player and a computer player on this game. And at one point, the computer set a trap for me in the game, and it's all strategy. And I just walked right into it because it never occurred to me that this thing was actually thinking, and it was. So that was my introduction. Now, if you fast forward, I'm just looking at Amazon. They're opening their AI to developers like myself and others to begin programming and working with AI. So that's going on right now. I was just at the store with my wife this weekend, one of my favorite stores, and I've got this app on my phone. As I walk through the store, I scan the items in, put them in my cart, and then when we're done, I push checkout, and I pay for it, and walk out the door. I don't use cashiers. So just that example right there, think about it. How many members of this store, would it take to begin using this app before they start laying off cashiers? It wouldn't take many, and this app is so convenient. Why would you wait in line? I hate waiting in line. So these are the kind of things that are happening. And as far as the driverless cars, here's the punchline. Once the driverless cars get perfected and they become commonplace on the road, we have to think, what's next? Driverless trucks. Well, robots don't have to create robots, and on and on. So that's another industry that's getting ready to be affected in a negative way. As a matter of fact, with all this stuff going on, projections are that 38% of the economy of workers are going to be affected in a negative way in the very near future. And, that might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, but that's, how many times have we wasted 5 years,
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the truck thing for just a second. A lot of people don't know this, but one of the largest areas of employment for males is being a truck driver. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the largest segments. So if you were to think it through, you would say, well, if artificial intelligence, machine learning, whatever you want to call it, can figure out how to drive this truck, it's probably not going to be going from point A to point B in a local area. It'll probably start off long haul stuff, like where there's fewer probably turns and less thing. Like if you were anybody in the Midwest, you realize as you're driving down 55, you can go halfway across the country, and if your steering wheel is aligned the right way, probably just do fine. Like it's just straight road, no lights, easy to program. So the way the thing will probably work, it'll be like, well, somebody will start off on the major highway, somebody will pick it up after it gets off the major highway, but that major highway guy is going to be gone. And the reason why he's going to be gone is because that major highway guy, the government has regulated him out of business. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. The company that's hiring you wants to spy on you more than, Russia spies on the United States. That kind of a thing. So the reality is it's going to be they're going to eliminate human beings because a human being is a problem as a truck driver. They have to sleep, they get into accidents, they might text their whatever, they do different things. So the reality is they're going to be extinct, and it's probably going to happen sooner than later. So in reference to that by itself, there's a lot of pressure for the driverless cars, the driverless things, and there's been a company called Uber, which a lot of people have been working with. And by the way, Uber has been fantastic as an alternative to making some extra money for people in the home-based business arena. So we have a lot of Uber drivers that are also customers. And what they do is they drive, and then they make their phone calls, and they follow up on their emails in between their jobs that they get. So Uber's been a great blessing for people for some now money, guaranteed money, if you will. But Uber is planning on having a driverless car thing going on, developing that technology so they can actually replace most, if not all, of their 1.5 million contract drivers. And that's just not me saying that. That's printed. Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 talk to anybody. Those things are happening. So start to add up those numbers. Million drivers from Uber, millions of drivers, well, maybe not millions of drivers, hundreds of thousands of drivers as far as truck drivers. Everything they possibly can automate, they're doing a great job at automating, and Amazon is leading the way. Amazon is leading the way. So, Vince, I'll let you clarify or punctuate anything that I mentioned right there.
Yeah, it's funny, not funny, haha, but it's interesting that you bring up Uber and the driverless cars. Uber just bought a company out of California that has a kit that you can install in the truck, in the 18-wheeler, and make that 18-wheeler a driverless truck. It's a kit, and Uber just bought them. So, if now's the time. You have got to start building your own economy, because this stuff is already here. It's breathing down your neck, and I'm not trying to be, I forget the story, but the kid with the finger in the dam or the dike or whatever it was, and, or the kid that cried wolf. I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's very important because this stuff is here, and more is coming. So it's only a matter of time. I used to be a developer for Foot Locker when I lived in Kansas. Their main distribution center for the entire United States is in Kansas. And a lot of the warehouse, we had, computers that knew where the orders were, or basically all you had to do was, unbox the crates and put it on the conveyor belt, and then the computer would just go around the conveyor and dump the products according to the orders that were in the system. And so I don't know how much of their warehouse has been automated at this point. That was a while ago when I worked with them and for them. But I was watching a video on Amazon's warehouse, and it's huge. It's a huge warehouse, and robots perform a whole lot of the work that humans used to perform. There's no forklift drivers and all that kind of stuff. The robots grab the pallets and take them where they need to go. And the only time I saw a human was near the end of the video, and the humans were taking the products off of the pallet and putting it in a slot so the computer could take it from there and move it to the conveyor belt. So, all this stuff is coming, and that's why we're here. We're here trying to help people build their own economy. I think that's the whole point of building fortunes. And Peter, you got something new that you've released on Monday. You want to talk about that a little bit?
That's right. Matter of fact, yep, and we're going to run out of time, but the reality is that we'll be a little bit into bonus time on this one. We're coming out with a new program because I'm feeling the pressure, if you will, of understanding that people are going to really have to start making some big changes really kind of quickly. And they don't have to worry about maybe going extinct overnight, but next year at this time, 2 years from now at this time, the world's going to be definitely a different place. So we said, we need to do something that's real simple for people to explain, and we call it our Flyaway program. So, Vince, we'll probably have another segment where we talk only about the Flyaway program, but for those people that are interested in learning the intricacies about running a home-based business, they should plug in with us. I mean, this is the stuff we do every single day. In addition to the radio shows, we have the lead management system, the classified ad sites, different publications, the different people we're working with. Relationships we haven't even developed yet are going to be developing in the future when you're working with us as well. So the cool thing is that we're helping people build their own economy. I came up with a very, very simple way to say, what, I'm in. I want to get started. So we came up with this really cool story called the Flyaway story. And I love the Flyaway theme because if you're a little bit on the creative side, you'll see where it fits in lots of places. But here's the way it works. When we are visiting with our customers, and some of our customers do nice but goofy things, or they're very trusting and sometimes they get taken advantage of by people that are telling interesting stories. So, the Bitcoin story. So many people have jumped on the Bitcoin story recently, the latest Chia Pet. So many people have jumped on the social media story. We're going to be the next Facebook or whatever. And lots of people lost money, Forex trading, binary options. I could go through the whole thing. So I said, what? We can be some real stability here, but we need like a sexy story. So something that people will be remember, then be able to explain to other people. So one of the stories that we came up with, meaning me, like, okay, I need some kind of a theme that people can think about, is a flyaway story. So if you were driving down a very busy highway, so you're actually driving, right? So this is like, has to be like now, because what we just spoke about might not be happening. So you're driving down a busy highway, you're on the left-hand lane because you're driving with traffic, and if you've ever driven down a highway with traffic, and you know there's like moderate traffic, there's cars in front of you, there's cars in back of you, there's probably a car on the right-hand side of you, and you're probably going ahead of the speed limit. Why is that? Because everybody else is, so you're driving with traffic. So you have the windows rolled up because you're driving pretty quickly, and then all of a sudden, maybe you're on your way to visit me, to drop off something, maybe buy something. And for this example, I'm just going to use $100. So you start off with $100. It's on your driver's side. You're up in the front of the seat on the passenger side, but up on the front. And for whatever reason, something happened. You had a $100 bill sitting there. Your windows closed up because you were going fast, almost like with us you can do it like a drive-through. But the reality was is maybe you brought a traveling partner with you, the dog or a kid or a cat, or maybe it could have been your mother-in-law, a friend you picked up on the way. And they accidentally hit the power window button. And when they accidentally hit the power window button, what I forgot to mention is you like a little bit of fresh air coming in, so you have your driver's window open just a little teeny-weeny crack. But when they popped that other window open, even by accident, it created this like tornado in your car. So when it created this tornado, and everybody knows what I'm talking about because this has happened to them. So it creates this little tornado in their car and stuff flew out. And one of the things that flew away was that $100 bill. Well, if you were on the phone talking to somebody, like your friend, would you mention that? Well, you probably wouldn't mention that because they probably would have heard you scream, right? What would you have said if it flew out the window? So you would have said something. So now you have to say something to your friend. Say, darn, you know, or whatever you might say, my $100 bill that I was bringing to Peter just kind of flew right away. And then maybe you were upset, but you realized that you couldn't do anything because you're in heavy traffic and you couldn't turn around because there are people in front of you, back of you, right of you. So like it's gone forever. So then maybe somebody else calls you up and you tell them the flyaway story, like your $100 bill flew away, then somebody else. And then on the fifth time you told somebody, because it's a long drive perhaps, or lots of people call you quickly, or they were making fun of you, like, hey, I just spoke to Joe. Joe just told me $100. They kind of laughed and giggled a little bit because he thought it was pretty funny. So after you told the fifth person, all of a sudden, though, something whips in your still open driver's side window, right past you, and you say, what was that? And you look down on the front passenger side where the $100 used to be, and now two of them are sitting there. You'd probably freak out a little bit, like, how the heck did anything like that happen? But they're real, so you'll take it, right? So then imagine that happened again the next time you did it, you know? You came to me, you had to give me the $100, or maybe when you got to me, you gave me the 100 because now you had two. And then when you gave me the 100, you started driving back, so there was $100 on the seat. You made sure the windows were up, but whoever you brought with you, the dog, the cat, the mother-in-law, the hitchhiker, whoever it might have been, popped that window by accident, like, this can't happen twice. Whew. Second $100 flies out of your window, like, oh my gosh. But you told 5 people, and then 2 showed up. Now, that flyaway story is just kind of fun to tell, and it's something people can wrap their mind around because almost everybody's been in a car, had the windows popped open, like a little tornado inside there, stuff may be flying out. So everybody can remember that. But in essence, we sell products that fit into that $100 range. And if you buy that product for $100, which is a legitimate product, we've been doing this for almost 20 years, so it's real. It's not just an excuse for a product. So you have a legitimate product that can help you with your own economy. If you knew that if you told 5 friends and they did exactly the same thing, you'd double your money, would you? Would you be able to find 5 people that maybe listen to the George Vincent radio show? Would you be able to find those 5 people that maybe want to do something like this? Maybe somebody wants to work with you that put their $100 in. I say put their $100 in, but it's really slang for they bought a $100 product and they get $200 back. Could you find a few people that would want to do that? And the answer is probably. So you can double or triple or quadruple your money based on how many people you tell, and they're using legitimate products, but we had to find a very simple, very fun way for people to feel comfortable with explaining the flyaway compensation plan. So you come in, there's 3 different levels. $20, you buy the $20 product. $100, meaning you buy the $100 product or the $500 product. So there's 3 levels. And more to this, of course, can be explained when you contact us. But the reality is it's a quick way for you to double your money. So if you're looking for a way to be able to double your money, triple your money, without being a stock, it's not an unregistered security, so for all the SEC and the FBI guys and all the other people. No, it's a real legitimate company. If you go out there and you tell your friends and you help us sell some stuff, we can help you double and triple your money right away. For some of you, you might be able to do it in the first day. So unlike being an Uber driver or unlike maybe some other things, you have the job security because, trust me, there's going to be tons of people that are out there that are looking for being able to make some extra money, whether it's a few dollars or a few $100s every single month, and this is just an unbelievable way to be able to make a difference in your own economy. So because of the story I was thinking about the dollars flying away. We call it the flyaway program. So jobs are flying away, security's flying away. That $100 bill might fly away, but if you tell 5 people, $200 will come back, using that as an example. So, George Vincent, I'll let you and by the way, George, you've been influential in helping me develop that story, some other things as well. So you are one of the people that saw this actually starting from, the sperm and the egg, the actual origination of the idea and some of the practices put in place. So I want to single-handedly thank you for helping become part of this very successful flyaway program. So over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. I've been working with you for a while now, for some months now, and I've just really been impressed with the whole organization and building fortunes. There's so many people out there that are selling air burgers. That's what I call them. They're just selling you air. And, a lot of people are being taken advantage of because, the world is getting to be a little scary financially. And to see a legitimate company with legitimate products, and that's all about helping people, that's been refreshing for me. And the other night I was explaining the flyaway program to my wife, and she blurts out, money in your pocket, knowledge in your head. And she does stuff like that. But I thought that was so cool that I just wanted to throw that out there. But that's really what that represents to me. And, it's a great way for people to learn. But while you're learning, let's help you get some money in your pocket. Would you agree, Peter?
Absolutely. So you got to make your own economy, and we can show you how to do that with the different product lines that we have. Plus, I think the greatest security you have is the knowledge that you put in your head. So if you had to start over, you had to adapt the way you need to relative to a changing economy, whatever situation you're in, you can actually help a whole bunch of people. So there's a whole bunch of people that are one job away or one factory closing or one industry away from being in a really tough situation. And we're here to do whatever we can to bring out that entrepreneurial spirit. Plus, Vince, they also realize that when they're working with us, we're working for them. So if you like this sort of stuff and you want us to go to work for you, you'll be able to do that as well. So if you like the things that you hear and you say, this would be really good, a great community to be able to build something with, you can do that right here with our Building Fortunes Flyaway program. So, Vince, I'm going to say we're almost done. I'll let you wrap it up, and we're going to catch you next week on the George Vincent radio show. Over to you.
Awesome. Well, it's been a great show, and I love doing this show, and even though I'm just getting started and we've gone a little bit over time, but these are some very, very important subjects, and time to take a look around and also be aware that we are there to help you build your own economy. So on that note, I will say adios for now, and we will see you the next time.
We'll see you next week. Perfect.
You've been listening to Building Fortunes Radio on buildingfortunesradio.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the designated Building Fortunes Radio segment with Peter Mingils. Be sure to check out the buildingfortunesradio.com website for our featured segments. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world.